Hey everybody, it's Eddie from Tokyo. This is your cryptocurrency update from Japan. I'm going to talk about MoneyGram and Ripple. I'm going to talk about why Dogecoin. I'm also going to talk about a clarification on the ratio for the up-and-coming snapshot and airdrop of the Spark token. I have a surprise video for you, and also why blockchain is going to totally change the world for many. First is the MoneyGram Ripple story. So the Wall Street Journal reported it had an interview with the CFO of MoneyGram, and it wasn't so good for the MoneyGram stock, that's for sure. But we also learned that the company was using XRP as an alternative means of Forex. So the digital asset was used from an exchange in the United States to a foreign currency exchange across the blockchain to reduce the Forex risk by offering those settlements that could happen in just a few seconds. Now, the title, which I don't know how journalists get away with this, it says MoneyGram's decision to halt Ripple partnership leaves CFO with earnings hole. They never halted. In fact, if you go on to read this story, they talk about how it has suspended its partnership. And actually, when you go down and actually look at the quotes from the CFO, it talks about how they have just paused this partnership. And that's because right now they're not able to use the digital asset XRP. And the loss of fees is going to, yes, really be a big hole for them in moving forward. And so this is why I think it weighed heavy on the first quarter results. And I don't know, I think, yeah, I just totally disagree with a media like the Wall Street Journal putting out those headlines. All right, why Dogecoin? Well, I want to tell you something. Dogecoin is very, very important. I get a lot of comments that are not so positive. I think some people just really don't understand. Let me just point out some of the reasons why it is being used on the Flare network. So it has a community. That's really important. It has very good liquidity. Flare Networks is all about this unleashing of value for the digital assets and bringing smart contracts to a coin like Dogecoin that didn't previously really have any utility is a huge, valuable addition to the entire ecosystem of blockchain. This is really, I think, wonderful. And I hope that like Litecoin and XLM now that are going to be integrated with that utility, yeah, bring it on. I mean, really bring it on. All right, here is a surprise video for you. I'm going to have you listen to just 1 minute to get a sample, but I was sent this link, and it's to the Digital Asset Investor's Father's channel. And not only does he have that beautiful Southern accent, but he's an excellent communicator with presenting in a style that really is easy to understand. He has done this Flare 101 video, which I really highly recommend, because if you are coming across terms within this decentralized DeFi, the decentralized finance ecosystem, and with smart contracts, well, I think it may sound a lot like Greek to you. My Greek friend is going to laugh that I said that. But just have a 1 minute sampling from DAI's father here, and you're going to get a real sense for the way he brings his content. It's quite good.
Good day to you, and you can call me Arthur Twiggs. Today, I begin an ongoing series about the Flare network. There have been several really good YouTubers out there that have presented great versions of what the Flare network is, but I still do not totally understand everything that I want to know about it. When I speak with some of my really good YouTube friends, they are also still confused. So, when I do not understand something, That is important to me, my family, and I just dig in and try to get a grasp on things, especially where money is involved. There are some really sharp people out there that I know must understand all of the terms, their meanings, and the flowcharts about the Flare network. But I get bottled up on the meaning of a word used, or how a section on a flowchart connects, or just simply, what did he say? And my mind just goes crazy.
So anyway, I'm going to put a link to it in the description below. Okay, we have an updated card from Status. And this is someone who works very hard in the space, trying to put out the best information always. And sometimes you get a little bit of something off. And I just want to tell Status that don't worry, everybody understands that you are putting out an incredible amount of value. And so to get something, tiny bit off sometimes, don't worry. I mean, everybody's got your back, and we're going to make sure that you got it, that you're okay. And we have definite clarification here from Flare Finance Direct that the ratio is approximately 171.85 Flare Spark per DFLR. And that is the airdrop that has not happened yet. It is the airdrop that BitTrue is supporting. And again, this is going to happen 30 days after the Flare Network's launch in Q2. So it's going to be 30 days after one of those dates. So, we've got what? April, May, June, right? February, March, April, May, June, July. January, February. You think I'm crazy, but I'm not. It's just that fiscal year ends in Japan March 31st. So my mind is always, getting mixed up with Q1, because Q1 is not Q1 in Japan. We're still in, we don't have fiscal year ending until March 31st for 2020. So we're not in 2021 yet. All right. So let me go to American thinking. So January, February, March. So it'll be in April, May, or June. I think probably from what I've heard, it's going to be June for the launch of the Flare Networks platform. That's just kind of what I've heard. And so therefore, if it's 30 days after, well, then this particular snapshot of your Flare Spark token could take place actually in July. So anyway, I know that Mickey B. Fresh and so many people are going to be, there's a Flare community channel. There's just some really great coverage happening. So, okay, I'm going to just keep on moving on. So when I asked the intern at XRP Labs in the Netherlands. Yeah, that's Hubert Getro. I asked him if he would be so kind to be my guest on the channel and talk about NFTs. Those are the non-fungible tokens. And he said on February 19th, just immediately after I asked, yes. So the ball is in my court, and I have to come up with these questions. So I'm formulating them now. My goal is to have them in his email by Monday. And I'm going to get back to this first blog that he wrote on Coil in one moment. But I want to tell you why this is such a big deal. All right. So for the artist out there, making art is usually not an economic decision, right? It's usually coming from a drive or a passion. And that can be, gosh, everything, you name it, right? Sculptors, painters, jewelry artists, musicians. I mean, it runs the gamut. Stained glass, it's as wide as our world. And very often these artists are barely able to find enough extra money for their materials. And I feel certain that everybody listening to this video right now is either an artist themselves or definitely knows of at least one, but probably many. So Michelangelo, he was one of the more fortunate because he was gainfully employed. Yeah, he was paid for the work that he did when he completed the Sistine Chapel for the Pope in 1512. He received some 3,000 ducats. That would have been about $420,000 in USD right now. And according to one of the 400 plus letters that he wrote that have survived, he was still struggling, believe it or not. Well, he was supporting his family, and he complained a lot about how slow people paid. And yeah, it just wasn't, even though that was a really nice, handsome payment, you can imagine, I mean, it took him years to complete. So I don't know, I'm not sure it's really enough money for what he was paid. And as this style that was circulating at that time, this is probably what the coin looked like. So women artists of that time didn't have it so easy. Yeah, of course, they were very challenged, some even disguising their gender to work as an artist. This is Sofonisba Anguissola, and she was an Italian artist, and luckily she was the exception. She was a painter who found employment as a court painter of the Spanish King Philip II. And you can see here, she did a lot of self-portraits. This is one that she did when she was quite young. She was actually working all the way into her 90s. And yeah, I'm really just so interested because allow me to jump now to the turn of the century. Artists were often represented by an art dealer or a gallery owner. And take, for example, Henri Toulouse-Lautrec. He is one that had an art dealer by the name of Maurice Joyant, and he made him famous, of course, and really probably a pretty good relationship because they had a long working relationship, so I guess it was pretty good, but he still had to put up with the gallery splits. Usually this is something like a 60-40 split, and 40% often goes to the artist. So the split is still common today. And gosh, it's even more severe in Tokyo. If you are going to get into a gallery in Tokyo to show your work, you have to pay the gallery up front in advance to even be considered for a trial. And that trial could be a very short period of time, like 3 days. And they'll get a feel for the customers that walk in if they really think they have artwork that they can move, because it's all about how much work you can move off the walls in this business. And so it's very valuable wall space, and so the gallery owners are quite reluctant. I bet with 100 opportunities that come to a gallery owner, they might say yes to 2 of them, and that would be probably a pretty good percentage. So one of the famous publishers for artists out of the United States that started in 1972 was the Greenwich Workshop. They pioneered the limited edition prints. Their most famous artist, of course, was the very popular Bev Doolittle, with her phenomenal success of marketing this camouflage art. This style was really set off a wave of prints that followed this one called Pintos, where she, if you look carefully in this snow and rock scene, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 horses, actually 4 horses and one little foal, I would say, not quite a yearling. So this was super popular with people at that time. It wasn't, just flew off the shelves of galleries, and they had it flat. The way that this was marketed was not framed. What you would do is you would go in, you'd get the certificate, it would be flat, and then the galleries would would have you pick out your mats and your molding, which is your frames, and then they would create this package, and it would be beautiful at the end of the day. But the 65 print you'd walk out would have cost you like $1,500 because of the acid-free backing and the molding and the sometimes triple mats, shadow boxed at times. I mean, the framing jobs that were done in the United States, especially those people who studied under, well, I'm not going to go off on that. Anyway, there was a lot of artistic value to getting out the door with a matted and framed print. So it wasn't just a $65 signed and numbered print. It was more of a easily $1,500 and up total presentation that you would hang on your wall. All right, so I'm really going to get to my point here. So what happened, however, is that this publisher quickly, because of the success of Bev Doolittle, I'll move myself out of the way so you can see this print, they got a little greedy. And the addition from that last print we just looked at was 1,000. They started to realize, well, gosh, why should we just stop at 1,000? Let's do 69,996. Can you imagine? So this sacred ground had that many in the edition size, which is just crazy. And plus you had artist proofs, and you had a whole line of other proofs that went with it. Think about she would have to hand sign and hand number each one too. This was a contract that really put a lot of pressure on her and forced her to create, and she publicly said she really disliked the arrangement because, artists want to create on their own time and with their own style and what makes them happy. And she got forced into this kind of camouflage art. So why I'm telling you this is that the publisher made millions on her, but she was rather exploited. And then came on-demand printing, and this really revolutionized the space in terms of art. This is a site called Artcom. It was started by he was a second or third generation Japanese out of San Francisco, but he has since sold this to Walmart. He did so in 2018. And what I mean by print on demand is you no longer needed inventory, no longer had to have warehouses to store art. Instead, the high resolution images were printed on demand, either on paper or on canvas with archival inks, and shipped out in 24 hours. And I can tell you that the printers, the people who pulled the prints, the makers of the substrates, which are the paper and canvases, and of course the printer manufacturers, one being really big, which was Epson, and with their inks, they got rich, not the artist. And now the individual artist can't sell direct to art.com. They have to go still through publishers, because publishers are trusted that they have legally cleared the image rights. So what I'm trying to tell you is that it has not been an easy road at all for artists. And that has been for, a couple thousand years. And you see the distribution has always been the problem for artists, but blockchain and these NFTs, these non-fungible tokens, this has completely changed the world for them, because the non-fungible tokens give the artists the full control to do what they want to do, and it'll put that exploitation on its head. And that brings me back to Hubert and his first blog that he wrote on Coil. He's introducing the NFTs on the XRP Ledger, and these tokens that were formerly called IOUs, we're not going to use that term anymore. They now have the properties of an NFT, and the cost is only 12 drops. That's just about 53 cents. Yes, you do have to open up a wallet, so please note that creating a wallet with XRP, it does take 5 XRP, and that would be a reserve that is needed per NFT. I'm going to ask him more about that, and we'll get into that. But he explains that the ledger is able to mint these NFTs. It's just wonderful, and it's coming late Q1 of 2021. I as you can tell, I really have some deep-rooted history and passion for the artist in this space, and so I just couldn't be even. I'm just thrilled. And you know, we used to be able to create a wallet, but the project Generate XRP Wallet is no longer hosted, I learned on the bithump.com. I actually created one, and yeah, I'm sorry to see this went away. You know, we got to talk to Hubert, and we have to find out, you know, what are the options? Are there offline paper wallets that we can do still, or are there hardware wallets that are an inexpensive solution? Because we want to be able to generate an XRP wallet that can be used for these in the future. And I think this is definitely a question that I'm going to ask and that we can discuss. So I'm jumping to the fluff, everyone. I'm jumping to talk about Yokohama. Yokohama is just 20 minutes south of Tokyo. It's very, actually, if you take the Shinkansen, which is the bullet train, you can get there in like 5 minutes. But this is Yokohama. It is the 7th largest city in Japan with 3.7 million people. It's just one of those kind of perfect size. It's a city, yes, for sure, but it is much cozier than Tokyo. I like Yokohama. I really like the Chinatown in Yokohama. The food there is wow. Wow, wow, wow. But look at this. This is the silhouette of Mount Fuji, and I can see this building from my deck, believe it or not. This is an intercontinental hotel. And this is what I want to tell you about, because they are also jumping in with this monthly plan. And I did talk about a monthly plan in Shinjuku, which is in the heart of Tokyo, called the Keio Plaza Hotel. But this Intercontinental Yokohama Grand Hotel is now also doing the 30-day stays. It is so popular. It's already sold out July and August. So you have to book now September, which will start to accept reservations from June 1st. I think so many people are going to do it because you won't believe it. I mean, you get the free Wi-Fi, you get the gym. There's some great restaurants in this hotel. This is the standard queen. It's just $49 a night. Can you believe it? That's unbelievable. I mean, it would almost be worth it to just rent for the whole month and use it for a week. And if you need a little bit bigger room, there is the superior room, which is $100 a night. That is amazing. And you'll get either this kind of city view or what they call the waterfront view. And the restaurants, there's many to choose from inside the hotel. This is one that looks like, to me, perfect for a breakfast. And then you can go to the fancier choice for an evening meal if you want to just stay close to home. Anyway, yeah, I think it's just great. All right, everybody. I think I should get on going here because I took up a little bit more of your time than I usually do. So do take care. Sayonara for now. Bye-bye.